Hey everybody, it's Miss Jen. I am going to go over what we did today for CC Foundation Cycle 3, Week 6. So for timeline, we did it in large group, and we did India's Mauryan Empire, and so it's like just currying back and forth. And then Mayans of Mesoamerica, they built not just pyramids like this, but they had steps, so we're doing the steps with our hands. Mayans of Mesoamerica, and then Punic Wars, we do the P, the sign language P. Punic Wars. Rome conquers Greece. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's wrong. Rome conquers Greece. Okay, so again, this is what we did for the Peloponnesian Wars. So Greece. And then Roman dictator Julius Caesar, we do the J, Julius. So Roman dictator Julius Caesar. And then Caesar Augustus, so like diagonal down for a king, Caesar Augustus. And then the Pax, so P again, Pax Romana. And then we have John the Baptist, so J for John. And then Baptist is 2 thumbs up, and we're dipping them in the water. We're baptizing. John the Baptist. So it's India's Mauryan Empire, Mayans of Mesoamerica, Punic Wars, Rome conquers Greece, Roman dictator Julius Caesar, Caesar Augustus, and the Pax Romana, John the Baptist. Okay, that is week 6. Okay, so for math, the numbers this week, we're skip counting 11s and 12s. The song for 11s is Row, Row, Row Your Boat. I have a really hard time doing the rhythm without singing it with the song on the app, so I'm not going to sing it on my video today, but you are welcome to look it up on the app, or, just YouTube the song, and you can find it. And then for 12s, it's to the tune of Here We Go Round the Mulberry Bush. Kind of similarly, the rhythm can get a little tricky, so just use the app or a YouTube video if that's helpful for the songs. For history, we have Tell Me About the Louisiana Purchase. And that is in 1803, the purchase of Louisiana from France prompted westward exploration by pioneers such as Lewis and Clark and Congressman Davy Crockett. So again, songs on the app, or you can look up the history song on YouTube and you will find it as well. I'm going to skip the song. I can't remember it off the top of my head at the moment. But in class, I had a map up on the board that showed, I don't have it in here. It showed the whole U.S. and I colored in the states that we're doing for states and geography today, or states and capitals today. And then I did a dotted line outlining the Louisiana Purchase to show them just how much land it was that was part of the Louisiana Purchase. All right, and then for geography, we have Madison, Wisconsin, Springfield, Illinois, Des Moines, Iowa, Jefferson City, Missouri, and Little Rock, Arkansas. So I printed off these pages from the sandbox. So if you log into CC Connected and go to the sandbox, this is page 19 in there, and there's a couple different versions of it. Some just has the stars where you draw in the edges of the states. Some has nothing, so you can draw everything in. And I know there's there's one of the whole US as well. I did this one because I think for our classes, like 6 and 7 year olds, so kindergarten, first grade age, and it was helpful to not have the entire US to try to decipher which states we were looking at. And the way I did it in class today was I had on my sheet outlined the states we're reviewing in the color I was going to choose. And I gave each of them a crayon and we went over it, and that really helped them. They found the states pretty quick this time. And we just repeated it a bunch, the capital and the state, as we were going through them. And then I tried also them saying back to me, I would say the state and they would tell me the capital, or I would say the capital, they would say the state. So we tried that. For science, it's what are some parts of the digestive system? Some parts of the digestive system are the mouth, the esophagus, and then liver and stomach. So your stomach is on the left side of your body, so make sure it's left hand on the left upper part of your belly. So stomach, liver, and then for large intestine and small intestine and large intestine, we had two options. So for small, you can go like this right in the middle of your belly, and then large intestine, small intestine, large intestine, or you can do small and just wiggle your finger like really small. And then large, we said you could make the shape of the large intestine. It's kind of like a staple, or like a square without a bottom. Or you could just, do large and kind of large intestine. So we kind of made up our own motions and went over through that a number of times. And then one time I just did the motions and didn't say the words, and they had to say the words. For English, we did the irregular verb to do, and we reviewed our motions with the verb tenses. So we said, to do for infinitive, do, does for present, did for past, doing present participle, done past participle. So we did the motions with them. And then we also did a song that all of the irregular verbs will fit into, and it's basically just a scale. It's to do, does, did, doing, done. So we will be able to add in, like we did to be last week and then to do this week. So we'll be able to keep adding to that. And then for Latin, we did Latin nouns, verbum, word, deus, deum, deo, God, principio, beginning, omnia, omnes, all, nihil, nothing. Okay, that's the pronunciation of them. And we used our Felix the Frog puppet and our little googly eye puppets to mimic back. For fine arts, we kind of reviewed all the skills that we've learned so far with abstract drawing and mirror images and all of that. And we made our own drawings. And I let the kids kind of do whatever they want because they had some ideas of their own. This was my example. So if I had had the time ahead of time, I would have drawn half of the tree and have them mirror the other half of the tree. Or you can also do the reflection of a tree. But we didn't do the mirror image part today when we were drawing. So we drew a large tree in the front, or some of them drew like a person, or what was one of the other ones? Somebody drew a train, just anything. Oh, somebody drew a pumpkin. And then we draw that first, because that's going to be the biggest thing, and it might be in front of your horizon line. And then they picked a spot where they wanted their vanishing point to be, and we lined that up with the ruler. So like this was mine, and I lined the ruler up, and I made sure that I drew my straight line, but I didn't draw it in front of my tree that was already there. So it goes behind the tree. Okay. So that's my horizon line. And then I drew my river. Some of our kids did red train tracks. And then I added in, after I had those components, that's when I kind of added in the rest. So like smaller trees, and then the mountains. Now these are little mountains. And, if you look at the size of the mountain to the size of the tree is way bigger than the mountains, but in reality, mountains are bigger than the tree, but that's all because of perspective. So we talked about that. And then for the abstract art piece, we filled these in with different patterns or designs rather than coloring them realistically. So that's kind of how I ended up with this. So they ended up with all different versions. of that drawing. Yeah. And then for science, we went through a couple different experiments today. We did sing our science song. It goes to Pop Goes the Weasel. Scientific method is question, research, hypothesis, experiment, analysis, pop, and conclusion. The first experiment is talking about how sensitive your nerves are in different places. So we took 2 pencils that were just sharpened pencils and taped them together, and you could tell that it was 2 separate pencils on your fingertips, but on your arm it felt like just one pencil point. So the nerves in your fingers are more sensitive and more specific than the nerves in your arm. Next, we did spinning. We just had one volunteer do this for us, and we talked about it more than actually doing it in the classroom. We didn't have time to go outside today, and to have them all of them spin in the class would have been too crazy. We would have knocked things over and had people get hurt. Our classroom is not big enough for that. These science sheets with the wonderful images on the back are also on the sandbox, so you can print them out. And it goes into a lot more detail about the experiment, and it goes through all of the scientific method questions in regard to the experiment. So we did talk through some of those today as well. And then the last activity was to pat your head and rub your belly at the same time, and talk about how just patting your head is easy, rubbing your belly is easy, but to do them at the same time, it's like training your brain to do a new thing. So it takes practice, and it's going to be hard at the beginning, and you can get used to it, but your brain is able to think about 2 things at the same time. It just has to make that pathway. And then for presentations, everybody did great today. And for review, by request, we did the review beach ball. And first we sang through the timeline song with the recording of it, just to review that one more time. And then we did this ball and tossed it. I had them say the other kid's name that they were going to throw it to, so it wasn't just a free-for-all and whacking heads when they catch it. And so I would say so-and-so's name, and then they would catch it, and whatever their right hand was on is what we'd go over. And I just picked whatever I could find to go over from that topic from previous weeks. So that was our week this week. So that finishes out the first 6 weeks, which is awesome. That means we're a quarter of the way through the Foundations curriculum year. So I will see you not next week, but the week after, and we will get started with week 7.